Hello and welcome to another edition of Training Cookies, feeding your mind with helpful training tips and news. My name is Scott with the Highly Trained Eye, a training firm based out of New Hampshire, USA. Now today's topic is, which is the best online platform for hosting a live training session, also known as Virtual Instructor-Led Training, or VILT. As a training provider, I often use whatever web conferencing platform the client uses. So I've had the pleasure, shall we say, of using many of them, and some I like more than others. We're going to take a look at them in 4 different areas: ease of use, features, quality, and price. Now I'm going to be looking at this from a training perspective, so if you're trying to decide which one to use to host a Jackbox game session with your extended family, your experience might be different. Now, I know there's quite a few services out there, including many I'm not familiar with or don't know, so feel free to recommend them in the comments or voice your own opinion. You won't hurt my feelings. Well, maybe a little, but I'll live. Anyhow, in the meantime, I'm going to discuss Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, Cisco WebEx, and at the last minute I added GoToMeeting by request. There are plenty more, but these are the primary players in the mix. If you want me to take a look at another one, again, just let me know. So first up, ease of use. Now this is kind of subjective, but here goes. When considering ease of use, you need to consider it not only for you as the instructor, but also for your participants and how easy it is for them to join and get set up. In addition, plugins for Outlook or Google Calendar make it easy to schedule a meeting directly from there instead of having to open the VILT application. Okay, so Zoom. As a presenter, scheduling a session is a matter of just clicking Schedule a Meeting from the Zoom app. It'll generate a link or email as well as integrate with your calendar. It also has plugins for Google Calendar as well as Outlook to schedule a meeting directly from there, so that's nice. As a participant, you can just click the link to join. One nice thing about Zoom is that it gives users the option to join without downloading anything, albeit with more limited functionality. I found this as a nice alternative for users joining via a Chromebook. Next, Microsoft Teams. Now first, let me be clear. I like Teams, and I use it. But Teams is not intended to solely be a conferencing platform. It does a lot of things. It was originally made to compete with Slack and then expanded into SharePoint integration and then went into web conferencing, which is a bit odd since Microsoft has also purchased Skype, but whatever. Now, Teams does a lot more than just web meetings, so the interface is more cluttered and there's no simple create a meeting button. You need to go into the calendar first, assuming you see the calendar icon. Now, I've worked with clients who are on Teams, but because I'm from an outside organization, I had to work with IT to get proper access. Otherwise, it's not that difficult. The good news is users with a company that uses Microsoft products and uses Teams should have no difficulty. With Windows 11, Teams is even baked into the OS even more, which is pretty neat if you're a Teams user. Now, Google Meet's come a long way in this area. You can schedule a meeting either via Gmail or via Google Calendar, which is nice if you're a Google shop. If you don't have Google, you can just go to Google Meet's homepage to schedule a meeting there. Google Meet is almost exclusively online with nothing to download, so Chromebook users can rejoice. I find it's not quite as easy to join as with Zoom, but it's not bad. Meet has a plugin for Outlook as well, but you have to install Google Drive for desktop first, which is an extra step. WebEx and GoToMeeting are very similar to Teams. They're trying to expand beyond just being a web conference provider in order to better compete with Slack and Teams. And so now when you open WebEx, you see options for chat, calling, apps, and more. Fortunately, there's still a prominent Schedule a Meeting button. They both also integrate with either Google or Outlook, just like Zoom does, so it's still pretty easy. GoToMeeting, however, has gotten busier to me, so you have to click on Meetings first to set one up. Not a huge deal, but it's an extra click. It lacks a plugin for Gmail, but it does have one for Google Calendar and Outlook, and the interface is pretty clean. On to a features comparison. Now, as a trainer, I think I need a minimum of 3 things. 1, the ability to put participants into small breakout groups if needed. 2, the ability to poll the audience, to ask them a question so they can give them feedback. And 3rd, I need the ability to record the session for others to access in the future. Now, there's lots of other features that are useful, like comments, virtual backgrounds, and the like. I'm not mentioning them because I don't want to overdo it, and a lot of these features to me are like wishing a word processor had spell check. It's kind of a given now. Now, finally, what would be really cool would be to give a quiz or something that the system could automatically score. Dreaming, I know. We'll get to that. Okay, so Zoom supports all three of these. Breakout rooms can be pre-assigned, or you can have Zoom do it randomly. Breakout rooms can also have a timer, so when the time is up, everyone is automatically moved back to the main room again. Zoom is a bit weird in that there are two places to access settings. The app itself has some basic settings, but to access all of your settings, for example, polling, you need to log into your account page online and you create your poll there. Finally, you can also record straight from the live interface. Teams is easier because there's only one place to look, and it even allows for polls in a Teams channel and not just a meeting, which is kind of cool. You just have to know that you have to click on Forms, as there's no button for polls. I have to give Google Meet some props here in terms of breakout rooms because you can access all options from the live interface. With the others, accessing some of the options, such as the timer, have to be set up after the rooms are created, which is a few extra clicks that I don't want to do while I'm explaining to everyone how the breakout rooms will work. By the way, it's always better to create the polls you want before the meeting starts, which leads to one bummer. As far as I know, you cannot create polls in advance in Google Meet. Your meeting actually needs to be open and running. I suppose you could join early and create the questions you want. WebEx is probably the easiest, with a panel for breakout sessions, as well as to create a simple poll. Although even with it, the panel is not visible by default. You have to change your settings. As for GoToMeeting, polling and breakouts are actually not available in it. But if you get one of their upgraded packages, such as GoToTraining or GoToWebinars, these features are supported for a price. More on that later. GoTo even allows the breakout rooms to collaborate on a shared document like you can in Teams, although everybody needs to be on Chrome and they must use Google Docs to do so. In short, GoTo does what we want, it's just a little more intimidating to do so. As for my big wish of creating a quiz that could be scored automatically, WebEx offers this as an additional cost, as does GoToMeeting with GoToTraining. Again, more on cost later. Okay, next up is quality. By quality, I mean how good is the audio and video experience. Now again, your mileage may vary because the biggest factor will be the quality of your internet connection and the connection of everybody else joining. I happen to have a good connection, but I've hosted meetings with participants at various locations, some of which are in rural areas, and it's been an issue. So first, the good news. For the most part, I haven't noticed much of a difference no matter which platform I use, especially the audio, and most participants don't either, or don't really care. We're not hosting the Super Bowl after all. When it comes to video, I've had the worst luck with Teams and WebEx, followed by GoTo. Maybe it's in my head, or maybe it's because those platforms are just trying to do too much. I don't know. Zoom and Meet, at least for me, seem to do a better job of compressing video so it takes less bandwidth. The main reason I mention quality here, though, is because I did want to share with you the one platform that I've definitely had the best experience with in terms of the quality of connection, and that is Discord. If you've never heard of Discord, you're probably not a gamer, and it's primarily an app used for audio communication among gamers. I'd be the first to say they're not a VILT platform. Technically, yes, you can do polling and even pull off breakout rooms, but it's not nearly as easy to use or set up as the others. But I've been on video with screen sharing on Discord with 50 plus attendees, live streaming video, and the video and audio quality is way better than any other I've seen. Honestly, I don't know how they do it. If you're curious, take a look at it. The final consideration here is price. Zoom has a free version, but to get the features we need, you want at least the Pro version, which is currently $15 per month. This is probably where Teams really shines, because for businesses, it's usually bundled in with Office, so it's essentially free. And even if you're not a Microsoft shop, it's $12.50 a month. And that includes not only Teams, but also Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access, SharePoint, OneNote, and more. A really good value. The competitor for Microsoft for Office use, of course, is Google. If your company uses Google Workspace, Meet is also built in. If not, the service is $8 a month, even cheaper than Teams, and includes the Google suite of Gmail, Docs, Sheets, etc. They're not quite as full-featured as Microsoft, but it's completely cloud-based and cheaper. Next, WebEx. WebEx also has a free version, but an individual plan with the features we want is $15 per month. Now, WebEx, however, arguably has more fancy features than the others, so you may feel it's worth it. Remember that dream feature I mentioned of self-grading quizzes? That feature is part of the WebEx Training Center, an optional upgrade that's really cool, but it will run you at least $60 per month. It's up to you if you think it's worth it. For me, I simply provide a link to a quiz platform or their LMS, and participants can take the quiz there. That way the results are automatically logged by the LMS as well. Finally, there's GoToMeeting. Well, if you want the features mentioned, you need to get either GoToTraining or GoToWebinars, which are $109 and $50 per month respectively, and must be paid annually. No month-to-month option. Now, GoTo probably has the best feature set of any platform discussed, but that price is a difficult one to swallow compared to the competition. So before I get to my final thoughts and hopefully declare a winner, here's some minutiae to consider. First, for you geeks who really like a dark mode, Teams and WebEx have it, Meet and Zoom do not. You can force them into dark mode if you're using Chrome and set Chrome into dark mode. Well, that's about it. There's also a plugin called Night Eye that creates a dark mode in most browsers that you can try. I know firsthand it works pretty well for GoToMeeting at least. Now, if you're not careful, all of these platforms will automatically launch in the background when you turn on your computer. The idea is that way you're automatically connected if people want to invite you to a meeting or chat. But I personally find it annoying. You can go to settings and turn this default off if you want. Also, most of these do not close, technically, when you click the close button. They close the window, but they still run in the background. On Windows, you'll see them minimized to your system tray, where you have to right-click on the icon and then select Exit to truly terminate the app. There have been times when I've accidentally had Teams, Zoom, and WebEx running at the same time. Now, I don't know how risky this is for messing up your PC, but it certainly can't be good. The only exception to all of this is Google Meet, probably because it's exclusively online, so that when you close your browser, it's gone. So, which is best? Well, I hate to sound like so many reviewers that end their talks by saying it depends, so I won't. For those of you listening only and not watching on YouTube, I assigned each contender a letter grade for each category. Now, if I use a good old-fashioned GPA, Zoom comes out on top, followed by Meet. I think Zoom offers the best combination of features and ease of use for the price. I've encountered fewer lost participants trying to join with it than with other platforms. Now that said, if you're a Microsoft shop and don't have many sessions with people outside the organization, give Teams a shot. WebEx would be my second choice. Cisco has actually done a good job keeping the interface fresh and fairly easy to use. And if you have the cash, there are premium features you can take advantage of as well. GoTo has some great features the others don't have, but I just can't justify the expense. Now again, your mileage may vary. Luckily, these all have free versions, so go kick the tires and see what you think. All right, well, that's it for now. Thanks for listening, and feel free to leave comments or suggestions. One day I might even look at them. Talk to you next time on Training Cookies.